Archivist Jaw had been dead for 3 minutes before he realized the human was awake. Not dead in any literal sense. His 4 hearts still pumped ichor through his chitinous frame, his compound eyes still tracked the amber-lit displays of extinct predators lining the museum walls. But dead in every way that mattered. Dead to the microscopic shift in biogel viscosity around Exhibit 42H. Dead to the tension building in preserved muscle fiber. Dead to the fact that something behind those closed eyelids was learning the rhythm of his footsteps. Day 847 since acquisition. Jaw spoke into his recorder, mandibles clicking in routine. Subject remained stable. The human male floated in biogel, carved from marble. Sandy hair drifted around features too serene for a species that had terrorized half the galaxy before Earth burned. The historical records felt like propaganda now. How could something so peaceful have warranted extinction? But then, that's what proper preservation was for. Violence neutered, danger domesticated, neural suppressants optimal. The board's investment continues to. Behind him, something that might have been consciousness opened one eye. Heartbeat. That was the first recognition. Not memory. Those were gone, scrubbed by whatever they'd done to his mind. But the steady thrum of the curator's circulation, different from the other species patrolling the hall. Insectoid. Nervous, predictable, careful. The thought came unbidden. Some part of him knew that sudden movement would trigger proximity alarms, so he remained floating, learning. The biogel tasted of copper and ozone. Restraint fields hummed at frequencies designed to flatten brainwaves into submission. Monitors tracked every nerve firing. Amateur work. The recognition surprised him. How did he know what professional containment looked like? How did he catalog the patrol routes of the 2 guards stationed at opposite hall entrances, switching positions every 18 minutes? Why could he map electromagnetic signatures like reading sheet music? Perhaps enhancement came with instincts. Adaptation. The neural suppressants weren't destroying thought, just dampening it, like white noise over a radio signal. But patterns could be filtered. Static could be compensated for. And over the following weeks, as the insectoid curator made his rounds with growing agitation, the human learned to think around the edges of his chemical restraints. Small things first. A fluctuation in the environmental controls. A microsecond delay in surveillance feeds. Communication arrays cycling through unnecessary calibrations while he traced their quantum encryption protocols. By the time Jaw noticed the pattern, it was too late. "Run the diagnostic again," Jaw commanded, antennae twitching. "All systems operating within normal parameters." The maintenance AI replied, then explained 17 glitches in 3 weeks. Insufficient data to determine cause. Jaw's exoskeleton prickled. An evolutionary response to being watched by something unseen. He moved to Exhibit 42H, studying the peaceful face behind bioglass. Brain activity showed the familiar flat line of neural suppression. Perfect, controlled. So why did the air taste like ozone before a lightning strike? "Increase suppressant levels 15%, he ordered. "Warning, further increases may cause cellular degradation." Jaw stared at those closed eyes. After 3 years of docility, why did he feel like prey? Do it anyway. Inside his case, the human's expression never changed. But something behind those sealed lids calculated the new chemical parameters and began adjusting. The gala was Jaw's masterpiece until it became his epitaph. Cultural ministers and xenobiologists from the consortium filled the Hall of Apex Predators, their conversations a symphony of clicks and harmonic frequencies. Jaw basked in their admiration as he guided them past displays of creatures that had once devoured entire worlds. "The preservation work is remarkable," Minister Vex said, her crystalline form refracting the amber lighting. "To think these species once terrorized entire sectors." "Science conquers all," Jaw replied, swelling with pride. "Proper application of neural suppression eliminates aggressive tendencies." "And the human?" Director Kesh gestured toward the centerpiece. "The stories we've heard. Propaganda." Jaw approached the biocase and placed one clawed hand against the crystal surface. Earth's final specimen has been with us for 3 years, docile as a house pet. Observe the brain activity. Controlled. Every light in the hall died. Emergency illumination bathed the chamber in red. Gravity fluctuated. Environmental systems gasped and fell quiet. In the crimson darkness, something new filled the air. A sound like a massive heartbeat, slow and deliberate. Thump, thump, thump. Technical difficulties, Jaw announced, but his voice cracked. Around the hall, biostasis fields began failing. Ancient specimens that had floated peacefully for decades stirred behind fracturing crystal walls. Preservation gel bubbled and frothed as systems designed to maintain death were overridden, but the human's case remained intact. Jaw spun toward Exhibit 42H as something moved within. The human's eyes were open, bright, aware, focused, his palm pressed against the inner bioglass, fingers spread wide. Lines of code cascaded down the external display, not random failures, but surgical commands executed with impossible precision. 3 years of system glitches had been preparation for this moment. The biocase opened with a soft hiss. The human stepped out of his prison like he'd done it 1,000 times before. No stumbling, no disorientation, just movement that spoke of enhanced reflexes and optimized neural pathways. Biogel dripped from skin that looked forged from something stronger than flesh. He walked to a nearby display and retrieved a jacket from the historical artifacts section. Military dress uniform, Terra circa 2387. The fabric settled around his shoulders like it belonged there. Impressive preservation work, the human said, his voice carrying harmonics that made Jaw's chitin ache. Though your methodology needs refinement. Jaw's legs buckled. You were conscious the whole time. Conscious? The human tilted his head with predatory precision. I prefer optimized. You enhanced my neural pathways, upgraded my genetics, streamlined my conditioning. Then you expected gratitude. His smile cut like a blade. That's not how apex predators work. The neural suppressants were educational. The human approached the exhibit console, fingers dancing over controls that were locked behind quantum encryption. Do you know what enhanced pattern recognition does to chemical sedation? It's like giving a symphony conductor white noise and expecting silence. You learn to conduct through it. Data streams flowed over the screens. Personnel files, genetic databases, communication protocols. The human absorbed information with the efficiency of a mainframe. Fascinating, he murmured. You didn't just preserve me, you improved me, eliminated genetic flaws, enhanced cognitive function, optimized reflexes. And then you assumed perfection would make me compliant. Jaw's antennae trembled. The modifications were necessary for stability. You made me into everything humanity could have become. The human's fingers flew over quantum transmitters, uploading data streams to communication arrays throughout the galaxy. Thank you. What are you doing? Propagating. The screens showed genetic templates and consciousness patterns broadcasting to every corner of known space. You preserved the last human as a museum piece. But preservation without propagation is elaborate death. Research stations, medical facilities, AI networks, anyone with quantum receivers would soon have everything needed to understand what humanity was. Not a warrior species to be feared or a relic to be displayed, an idea. Adaptable, persistent, impossible to contain. The consortium will execute you for this, Jaw whispered. Will they? The human activated Jaw's personal biocase, the one reserved for the curator's own preservation. I don't think so. Please. You wanted to collect something dangerous, the human said, guiding the terrified archivist toward the opening case. Mission accomplished. The biogel was warm against Jaw's exoskeleton as the case sealed. Through crystal walls, he watched the human adjust the external display with methodical precision. The new placard read, Curator, Species, Hubris. Status: extinct. Emergency crews rushed past the human without a second glance as he walked through the chaos toward the shuttle bays. Behind him, other exhibit cases cracked open, their ancient occupants stirring after centuries of forced dormancy. At the airlock to a research vessel, the human paused to send one final transmission to Jaw's communication implant. "You thought you collected the last human. You were wrong. You collected the template for the next million." The shuttle vanished into hyperspace, leaving the curatorial arc spinning in darkness. In laboratories over 1,000 worlds, scientists began receiving data streams that would reshape everything they thought they knew about extinction. From his new display case, Jaw watched fractures spread over crystal walls throughout the museum. 200 years of preserved apex predators began awakening in the red emergency light, their stasis systems compromised by orchestrated chaos. The galaxy's most dangerous species had been collected, catalogued, and contained. Now they were learning what it meant to be prey, and in the space between stars, an idea that refused to die continued its patient work of resurrection.